What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I am here to do one of my last videos for free agency. I know these last couple like deep dives and free agency videos have been a little late, but it's a good learning process for me and how to adjust my format for the next time around to make sure I get them all done before even the tampering window opens up. Because obviously once that happened, then a lot of pieces started to actually move and, you know, so on and so forth. In fact, I have some updates for you today as well, which does bring us straight into the video. I am going to be doing a deep dive. This video is going to be a deep dive into the Dolphins' current quarterback situation, as well as punters, because I told you I was going to put those all into the same video, and then I'll be doing my free agency video tomorrow, although it's a little bit redundant and a little bit, you know, irrelevant at this point. And that's why, like I said, I'll do better organizing this whole thing going into next year, so that way I can make sure to get it all out before, you know, this happens. So it is what it is, and let's just keep moving on. So first thing, I do want to make sure to let you guys know about some things that they did today. So as you can see, Adam Schefter reported that linebacker Duke Riley is signing back with the Dolphins on a 1-year, $3 million contract per his agent Drew Rosenhaus. I'm solid with that. If you watched my videos for the linebackers, whether it was the deep dive or on the current players or the free agency video, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in both. You know, my thing is we just need that middle linebacker. I think the core of our linebacking unit is okay. We just need that true middle linebacker, and that's why, for me, my dream scenario would be to somehow get Nakobe Dean at 29, but, you know, probably a good chance that that's not going to happen. And with the way that things are turning out, there's a chance that offensive line actually may even still be our top target, depending on what they do through the rest of free agency. Now they did get an offensive lineman today, and they still could add, you know, a couple more, you know, one or two more guys. So all of that is possible. It's not done yet. We do have to still wait and see how the rest of free agency plays out. And then obviously, too, we're going to have to wait and see how the draft board actually falls on draft night, because all of that is going to determine what we actually do with that 29th pick. Anyway, moving on, though. So real quick, the Dolphins, just want to also let you know, they are re-signing Preston Williams. So, let me real quick open that in a new tab. Let's see if we can get some actual information on it. They are re-signing Preston Williams. Remind me later. Get rid of this bullshit. Go. So, and he can make up to about $2 million this upcoming season. So about $2 million is how much he'll cost. So obviously pretty cheap. Which makes sense because he's been hurt and hasn't done anything. So they're basically betting on, hey, maybe we can get that upside and that potential out of him. Maybe finally he'll stay healthy and actually be able to play for us. I don't hate it, but, you know, I certainly wouldn't have had an issue with them not bringing him back either. But he is still young. He still does have a chance. I don't hate this. Honestly, I do like Devontae Parker, and I do think he is going to stay here, but I wouldn't mind seeing them let him go. But I would love to see them bring Mac Hollins back still, and I still would like to see them get a wide receiver in like the 3rd round anyway, even after bringing back Williams and also bringing in Quincy Wilson, right? So anyway, continuing on, like I said, they did sign an offensive lineman. He's a guard, though, so that's interesting. Former Cowboys offensive, although, you know, maybe they are not going to play him a guard. I don't know. We'll see how this all pans out. So they did sign an offensive lineman, and they are still, you know, should still be in talks with, or, you know, I think they're still in the mix for Lyle Collins, Taron Armstead. Trent Brown is still a possibility. McDaniel, or not McDaniel, Daniel, oh God, what's his name? James Daniel? Is it James? Is it James Daniel? The center. Anyway, he got signed today, so he's no longer a possibility. But there still are options, and there still are options at tackle. Morgan Moses is another one. So there still are options out there. So we'll see how they finish, free agency. But they did bring him in anyway. It's a 2-year, $14 million deal, 7.5 guaranteed. So, did address it a little bit so far, and again, we'll see how it plays out. And then finally, the last thing, which again, I'm fine with this, is they re-signed a Landon Roberts 1-year, $3.25 million deal. So not really much of a cost there. And again, I do think keeping the base of this linebacking unit intact is probably the smart thing, especially because we have so many holes elsewhere. So I do like that. But they do need to find that true middle linebacker, somewhere, somehow, hopefully in the draft. And I would love for it to be, I mean, Devin Lloyd too would be perfectly fine. I wouldn't have an issue with that. I just feel like, I don't know, in my gut, in my jellies, if you've seen, Detective Pikachu, I feel like if we're going to get either one of those guys, it'll probably be Nakobe Dean. But anyway, so let's move on to the actual point. The point of this video, as it turns out, the updated information here for what's happened in free agency is actually the more important part of this. But let's get into the intended purpose of this video, and that is to take a look at the Dolphins' current quarterback situation, deep dive into current quarterback situation, as well as Punter. Before I do, of course, offensive line, position rankings by need. Offensive line with tackle, center, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, true middle. Defensive line, edge, tackle, corner, tight end, safety, backup quarterback, and punter. Of course, though, we know that some of this stuff has actually been taken care of. And in fact, we will talk about some of that stuff because since I am doing quarterback today, I had to add Teddy Bridgewater, because they did just sign Teddy Bridgewater, which I think is the perfect way to take care of your backup quarterback. So that actually would come off the list entirely. I think we're good now. But because I do want to get these videos, I want to actually have these videos made and out there on the channel and so on and so forth, because it's part of this whole series. I said I was going to do it, etc., etc. I am going to go through this, but I am going to try and be quick. So, Jacoby Brissett, glad and thankfully he's not going to be here anymore going in his 7th year. I don't care how much he's paid. I don't care how old he is. I don't care about his draft status. I'm not even going to go through all this stuff. I'm just going to have it here in the video so you can see it. He is also on my free agent list because there was a chance that they could have decided to sign him back. But obviously Bridgewater's the guy as the backup, which I think is fucking phenomenal. Anyway, so like I said, I will scroll through it though. Here's all of his, he spent his time with teams. He's 6 years in. Here's his career stats: passing, rushing, miscellaneous with his sack yardage, game-winning drives, etc. And then his 2021 stats. Obviously, we don't like him here as a Dolphin. He hasn't really done much in his career. Technically got graded out best in 2021, but he's not been very good. Thank God he's not going to be our backup anymore. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a giant upgrade. And God forbid if Tua does at some point get injured or whatever in the season, I think he can come in and step in and handle everything just fine. So that way our season doesn't get derailed because of it. Anyway, moving on to Tua Tagovailoa, who is our starting quarterback going into his 3rd year, 24, and I think finally is going to have an opportunity to really showcase himself because, look, some key changes just real quick. He actually has support of his head coach and the coaching staff. They've actually put together a good coaching staff, so those things are going to now be in his favor as opposed to being against him, which they were in the previous years. They're obviously addressing the running back situation. They're obviously addressing wide receiver, and they are addressing offensive line. Now, the same will be true for these guys and their decisions as anyone else ever. Do they end up making the right decisions, and does that stuff pan out? Now, there is, early reason to believe that these decisions are already like light years better than what Brian Flores was doing and Greer under Brian Flores' direction. But, you know, they still got a long way to go. They still technically don't even have their first draft under their belt. So let's see how the rest of this process plays out. I am actually willing to give this process like time to play out, though, because I do agree with a lot of what they're doing even early on. So it is encouraging to me, whereas, you know, again, with the last regime, I mean, to me, Brian Flores very early showed his true colors and who he was. Didn't like that. Didn't like his base philosophies coming from New England. Didn't like the fact that he agreed to tank, etc., etc., etc. So, like, anyway, I digress. Let's get back to this. Point being is Tua's actually going to have a legit chance going forward to prove that he can or can't be the guy, whatever it ends up being. So I think the excuses that people say he had, which are just the contextual reasons for why things turned out the way they did, they're not excuses. They're just data points and parts of the equation. But anyway, I think a lot of those things are actually either lessened or negated and have, you know, potentially even completely gone away. So, you know, I think they're going to make sure his offensive line better and his run game is better and his receivers are better and at least more reliable. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, that still has to, you know, play out and become reality for it to actually be true. But it looks like there is some reason to believe that it could be true. Anyway, so his measurables, he obviously round one pick for us in 2020, 5th overall. We tanked 2019 for this kid. 2 years in, all with us, 23 games played, 21 started, 1,348 snaps, 674 per year. Obviously, that has to do with the fact that they decided to put him in, you know, fresh off the hip injury in his first year, which was stupid. He did have some injuries that year and this year that kept him out. They were jerking him in and out of the lineup, so obviously hasn't been given a fair shot or really had the chance to play an entire season from game 1 to game now 17, or games, 17 through week 18. But anyway, he is, though, 13-8 as a starter, so obviously a solid record there for his first, 21 games? 21 games, and that's record as a starter, obviously, because you know, you're talking about games started. That's where the record comes from. It sticks to a quarterback when they've started the game. Like, that's the qualifier. Anyway, 678 attempts, 339 per year, 449 completions, 224.5 per year, 66.2 completion percentage, 4,467 yards, 2,233.5 per year, 194.2 per game, 6.6 per attempt, 27 touchdowns, 13.5 per year, 15 interceptions, 7.5 per year, with a career touchdown to interception ratio right now of 13.5 to 7.5. 88.8 passer rating, 47.25 QBR, and then I'm not going to bother reading through it, but he does obviously add some decent rushing statistics, most notably the touchdowns with 6 touchdowns, 3 per year so far, 4 10-plus yarders, decent amount of yardage and stuff like that, decent amount of attempts. Although, to be fair, the context is a lot of that in the first couple years of his career had to do with the fact that he was running for his fucking life. But you notice, though, he has 40 sacks in his first 2 seasons. That's 20 per year. That's actually not a lot, even though he hasn't played the full seasons. But the reason for that is because of his elite quickness when it comes to getting the ball out, as well as his elite ability to manipulate the pocket, and so on and so forth. So anyway, I think these numbers are only going to continue to get better and increase and so on and so forth now that they're actually starting to build around the kid and, you know, invest in him and so on and so forth. The problem, the one problem is at this point, he probably is only going to have 1 year to really, like, you know, prove to these guys, not so much the coaching staff, but like the front office and Stephen Ross that he is the guy and that they can continue to build with him and that he is going to help them get to where we want to be. So because he's already been here for 2 years and there's a lot of talk about how he's not it and so on and so forth. So, he still is going to have, it is going to be like his third straight prove it year, which is absolutely ridiculous. But, I think he's going to be fine, and I think that this, like I said, I believe that he's going to be fine in this league once he actually does get full support and built around, and so hopefully that'll materialize this year with a coaching staff and whatever that does support him. Now, unfortunately, because it is a first-time head coach, he is a rookie, it's their first season together, first season with this coaching staff, there could be growing pains and it might not be as successful this year as what people think. Look, I think that they are going in the right direction, but Dolphins fans who, get on that, we're going to the Super Bowl and we're going to be an automatic contender in the division and for the, the playoffs, et cetera, I would still urge pumping the brakes. There's still a lot that needs to happen, but I do think that they are at least moving in the right direction, and I think Tua can be the long-term answer. It does just have to play out, and a lot of things do have to, the decisions that they are making have to be the right ones. Anyway, this past season, 13 games played, 12 started, 777 snaps, 7-5 record, 388 attempts, 263 completions, 67.8 completion percentage, 2,653 yards, 204.1 per game, 6.8 per attempt, and 16 touchdowns with 10 interceptions, a 16-10 ratio. 90.16 touchdowns to 10 interceptions ratio, 90.1 passer rating, 49.7 QBR, and as you can see, did set or match a number of career bests this past season, and then his rushing numbers as well. I think he's going to be fine. His solid grading overall, and he did improve, obviously, like again, set or matched a number of career bests. He was overall healthier this year, and he's going to be theoretically even healthier this upcoming season. I think he's going to be good. And of course, too, there were the reports that he could be working with Tom House, which would be cool. I don't know if that's actually come to fruition or whatever, but that would be dope, and that certainly would go a long way, I think. But yeah, anyway, so moving on, just because I do want to get through the rest of this. Chris Streveler is also on. Now, Jacoby Brissett still is technically on the roster, and that's actually the reason why I didn't remove him from the list completely, because he is still technically on the roster, although I do think I may remove him from the draft, or I mean not draft, the video tomorrow, the potential free agent prospects. Nah, fuck it, I'll leave it, and then I'll just fucking scroll through him and scroll past him, just so that way I can show you, because he was still on there, and that was obviously before they did anything, made any of these moves, and, because now I expect him to be cut, so thank fucking God. Anyway, Chris Streveler, they did bring him in, third year, 27, current, a little under $1 million current APY, measurables pro day, undrafted 2020, 2 years in, started with the Cardinals, now with us. He did play in this, I think it was the CFL before this, though, so he did, and that's why he's a little bit older, but he, was undrafted in 2020 and only has 2 years in, because he did play like 2 or 3 years, I think, with the CFL. Anyway, 7 games this past to his career, 54 snaps, 27 per year. Obviously not much. I'm actually not even really going to bother reading it. This is just like a potential developmental guy or whatever. Maybe he'll end up being the practice squad quarterback, right? Because obviously at this point it's going to be Tua, and then it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater, who, here, let me just scroll through the rest of this here for you so you could just take a look at it, because then Bridgewater, who's next on this list going into his 9th year, he's 36.5 current APY or current cap hit. That's what they're paying him, $6.5 million. He is going to be the backup with Tua, obviously the starter, and then probably they're going to cut Jacoby Brissett, and then Streveler will be the third string guy, and then probably, I would imagine, end up on the practice squad. And that's how I would see it going as of right now. So Bridgewater, and I do love this move as the backup. I think this is honestly one of the best moves. Now, you'll see the list of guys that I had in free agency. He is on the list, but I think this is one of the better moves that could have been made. Round 1 pick in 2014, 32 overall, 8 years in, started with the Vikings 14 to 17, Saints from 18 to 19, Panthers in 2020, and Broncos 2021 to present. Although that's actually not even true anymore. Now it is Miami Dolphins present, because he is now with the Miami Dolphins. So 73 games played, 63 started, 4,038 snaps, 504.75 per year. And he does actually have a winning record as a starting quarterback, 33 to 30, just slightly over 500, but solid, right? Solid, you like to see it. And has had, some decent production in his career. 1,988 attempts, 248.5 per year, 1,323 completions, 165.375 per year, 66.5 completion percentage, 14,437 yards, 1,804.625 per year, 197.8 per game, 7.3 per attempt, 71 touchdowns, 8.875 per year, 43 interceptions, 5.375 per year, with a 8.875 to 5.375 touchdown to interception ratio. I did it like that just because I wanted you guys to see it from the career perspective, since this is their career stats, and then but also from the perspective of touchdown to interception ratio. So I also didn't, if it could be reduced, I didn't do that. I just left it in the touchdowns per year to interceptions per year ratio. Anyway, with a career 90.7 passer rating and a 37.31 QBR, and then, got a decent amount of rushing attempts, etc. And then his miscellaneous sacks per yardage, sack yardage, game-winning drives, etc. What he did in 14 with the Broncos, 14 games played, 14 started, 844 snaps. He was 7-7 in those 14 games, so a 500 record, 426 attempts, 285 completions, 66.9 completion percentage, 3,052 yards, 218 yards per game, 7.2 per attempt, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 18 to 7 interception ratio, 94.9 passer rating. Had a solid year, right? 47.4 QBR, rushing attempts, etc. He also did make the Pepsi NFL Rookie of the Year. Pepsi got that as a... Oh, this is actually supposed to say awards. There we go. Anyway, he was the Pepsi NFL Rookie of the Year in 2014, and also did make the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team. He did make the Pro Bowl in 2015. Okay, so I actually screwed this up in a couple different ways. So he did make the Pro Bowl, All-Pro, and then Pro Bowl in 2015, and the Art Rooney Award in 2020. Sorry, you guys know I'm a super stickler for the formatting and everything. I'm super OCD with this shit. Anyway, so, decent player, and then here are his grades. Like I said, I think he's definitely one of the better backups to have in the league right now. So, I really like this move, and he's obviously a million miles ahead of where Jacoby Brissett is. So there you have it. Tomorrow too, when I go through my free agent video, it will be a little bit abridged, even because both Jacoby Brissett and Teddy Bridgewater will be on that list. So I'm not even really going to go through them. They'll just, I'll scroll through them. So it will shorten that video a little bit. Sorry that I kind of screwed up my timing with all of these videos and didn't get these last ones out until, now. When things have actually happened. But like I said, it is a major learning process for me this offseason in a number of ways. So I will fix that, and I will tighten it up and get better going into next year. But for now, it is what it is, and that is going to be my video. So gave you those updates. Oh, and sorry guys, I almost forgot, and probably gonna notice I chopped this up because I had to edit this into the other portion of the recorded video here today because I forgot to take a look at Punter. So real quick, we are going to do that now. Michael Pilardi, as you can see, he was terrible. They need to upgrade this position. I'm not even really gonna, talk much about him. 9th year, he's 30, UFA, 1.4 million. He's not very expensive. Undrafted out of 14, 8 years in. Started with the then Oakland Raiders, then St. Louis Rams in 15, Carolina Panthers 16 to 20, 21 to present with the Dolphins. But he's not all that great. Here, his career statistics and whatever. Did set or match, a handful of career bests. It's funny too, most punters do have some kickoff numbers as well, and then his grades, I don't think he's very good. I don't know why they brought him in, especially over Matt Hawk, who's been solid for us. I think that was honestly pretty silly, and there was really no reason to do that. But it is what it is. And hopefully they will upgrade at least, though. So we'll see, even if they take a punter in the mid to late rounds, although there is talk of, I think his name is Matt Araiza, and he will be in the free agency video tomorrow. People have been talking about him as as not just draftable, but draftable in the earlier rounds, even maybe as early as round 2, because he's apparently that good. So anyway, just wanted to make sure to get this little bit in there because I was supposed to fit it in there and I forgot to do it before I went through my whole sign off and stuff, which I will be getting to right now. So there you have it. Thank you guys for watching, and here you go. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Before I do, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it, and they're looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, while also providing you with an arena to dispute the terrible officiating. So look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.